When Catherine Middleton married Prince William in 2011, millions watched a fairy tale wedding unfold before their eyes. The commoner from Bucklebury had become a princess, stepping into a world of glamour, privilege, and endless opportunities. However, beneath the glittering surface lies a reality that few people truly understand. Princess Catherine of Wales lives her daily life within the confines of hundreds of strict rules and protocols that would astonish ordinary people. The most shocking revelation about Catherine's royal life centers around something as simple as writing her own name. At public events, when excited children hand her drawings to sign as keepsakes, Catherine must politely refuse with the words, "I can't write my name. It's just one of those rules." This restriction stems from centuries-old royal protocol designed to prevent forgery. The royal family fears that if signatures become common, they could be used to falsify official documents or legal papers bearing a royal signature. During a visit to the Chelsea Flower Show, young students eagerly approached Catherine with their artwork, hoping for an autograph. The princess had to explain that while she couldn't sign their drawings, she could create something special for them instead. She drew flowers, trees, and pond scenes for the children, turning a restriction into a meaningful interaction. This moment perfectly illustrates how Catherine navigates the complex world of royal limitations while maintaining her warm, approachable personality. Perhaps even more startling is Catherine's complete exclusion from the democratic process. As a working member of the royal family, she is forbidden from exercising one of the most fundamental rights in democratic societies, the right to vote. Catherine cannot participate in any political elections, from local council votes to general elections that determine the country's leadership. This restriction extends to all political expression, as royal family members must maintain strict neutrality in political matters. The voting ban means Catherine cannot publicly support political parties, candidates, or even specific policies, no matter how strongly she might feel about issues affecting the country. During election campaigns, while millions of British citizens debate candidates and policies, Catherine must remain completely silent on political matters. This restriction continues even when policies directly affect causes she champions, such as early childhood development or mental health initiatives. Catherine's everyday vocabulary has been fundamentally altered by royal protocol. She cannot use common words that ordinary people use without thinking. The word toilet is completely banned from her vocabulary. Instead, she must use terms like lavatory or bathroom. Similarly, she cannot say couch instead of sofa or living room instead of drawing room. These restrictions exist to maintain what the royal family considers sophisticated language standards. Even casual conversation requires careful consideration. Catherine cannot say pardon if she doesn't hear something clearly. She must say sorry instead. The word perfume is forbidden. She must say scent. These linguistic restrictions extend to hundreds of everyday terms that have been deemed too common or informal for royal use. Royal staff reportedly provide guidance on proper vocabulary, ensuring that Catherine's public speech always meets the highest standards of royal protocol. The restriction on personal social media accounts represents another shocking limitation on Catherine's personal freedom. While millions of people share their thoughts, photos, and experiences on platforms like Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, Catherine is completely forbidden from having personal accounts. All social media posts featuring Catherine are managed by palace staff through official royal accounts. This means Catherine cannot share candid moments from her daily life, respond directly to well-wishers, or express personal opinions on current events through social media. Every post, every photo, every caption must be approved by palace communications teams. The spontaneous, authentic interaction that defines modern social media is completely impossible for Catherine. Catherine's interaction with the public is governed by strict physical contact rules that create an invisible barrier between her and the people she meets. Royal protocol states that no one should touch a member of the royal family unless the royal initiates contact first. However, Catherine has masterfully adapted this rule to her advantage, becoming known for her warm handshakes and genuine interactions during royal walkabouts. Despite the no-touch rule, Catherine cannot hug members of the public, even in emotional situations or when meeting people dealing with difficult circumstances through her charitable work. The closest physical contact allowed is handshaking, and even that must be initiated by Catherine herself. This restriction can create challenging moments when natural human instinct calls for more comfort or connection. Catherine's travel arrangements include a morbid requirement that reveals the serious responsibilities of royal life. She must always pack a complete black outfit when traveling abroad, regardless of the trip's purpose or destination. This rule exists because if a family member dies during her travels, she must be appropriately dressed for mourning when returning to Britain, where photographers will inevitably capture her arrival. This rule originated from a painful lesson learned by Queen Elizabeth II in 1952. When she was Princess Elizabeth, traveling in Kenya with Prince Philip, she received news of her father's death. Without appropriate mourning attire, she had to wait on the plane while black clothing was delivered before she could step off and face the waiting photographers and public. The food restrictions governing Catherine's public life extend far beyond personal preferences. She cannot eat shellfish in public due to the high risk of food poisoning. Oysters, mussels, and other shellfish are completely forbidden when she's representing the royal family, as any illness could disrupt important royal duties and engagements. Catherine also cannot accept food from strangers or well-wishers during public appearances, except in specific ceremonial contexts. When people offer her homemade treats, local delicacies, or traditional foods during visits, she must politely decline. This rule protects against potential food poisoning, allergic reactions, or more serious security concerns. Catherine's spontaneous interactions are limited by rules governing selfies and photographs. While royal protocol traditionally discourages selfies with members of the public, Catherine and William have somewhat relaxed this rule. However, she cannot pose for endless selfies or spend extended time with phone cameras, as it can disrupt official schedules and create crowd control issues. These restrictions reveal the complex reality behind Catherine's royal role. Every public appearance, every conversation, every simple human interaction is governed by protocols developed over centuries. While she has adapted many rules to suit her approachable style, Catherine's daily life operates within boundaries that most people cannot imagine. The woman who appears so natural and relatable in public actually lives within one of the most restricted lifestyles in the modern world. Behind Princess Catherine's flawless public appearances lies one of the most restrictive dress codes in the modern world. Every outfit choice, from the color of her nail polish to the length of her hemline, must conform to royal protocols that have been developed and refined over centuries. These rules govern not just special occasions, but every single public appearance, creating a fashion prison that would overwhelm most people. Catherine's hat-wearing requirements represent one of the most visible aspects of royal fashion protocol. For all formal daytime events, Catherine must wear a hat. This rule dates back to the 1852, when it was considered improper for upper-class women to show their hair in public. The protocol is so specific that it includes seasonal requirements. From Easter to September, Catherine must wear straw hats, while the rest of the year demands felt materials. The hat rules become even more complex with timing restrictions. Catherine must never wear hats after 6 p.m., as this is when royal tradition calls for the transition from day wear to evening attire. After 6 p.m., if the occasion warrants it, married royal women wear tiaras instead of hats. The choice of headwear also depends on the venue and occasion. Fascinators are strictly forbidden at formal royal events, even at ascot races where they might be fashionable among other attendees. These hat restrictions have created challenging situations for Catherine. During summer garden parties that extend into early evening, she must carefully time her headwear changes to comply with royal protocol. Palace staff reportedly coordinate these transitions to ensure Catherine never appears inappropriately dressed for the time of day or occasion. Catherine's color choices are governed by practical royal requirements that most people never consider. She must always include vibrant colors in her wardrobe for public appearances, because royal protocol demands that the royal family be easily visible in crowds. Queen Elizabeth II famously said, "I can't wear beige because nobody would know who I am," and this principle continues with Catherine. The royal family's preference for bright colors serves a practical purpose beyond personal style. When Catherine appears at public events, crowds of people often gather, sometimes dozens of people deep, Bright colors ensure that those at the back of crowds can spot her, allowing them to say they saw the Princess of Wales. This requirement influences Catherine's entire wardrobe planning for public engagements. However, black clothing presents a complex contradiction in royal fashion rules. While Catherine generally cannot wear black except during mourning periods, she must always travel with a complete black outfit. This paradox reveals the morbid reality of royal life. Catherine must be prepared for funeral attire at all times, in case of unexpected deaths in the royal family during her travels abroad. Catherine's hemline restrictions enforce modesty standards that limit her fashion choices significantly. Miniskirts are completely forbidden, regardless of current fashion trends or personal preferences. Royal protocol demands that skirts and dresses reach at least knee length, and preferably longer. This rule aims to prevent any risk of inappropriate exposure or scandal that could reflect poorly on the royal family's dignity. The modesty requirements extend to necklines and overall coverage. Catherine cannot wear clothing that reveals too much cleavage, bare shoulders at formal daytime events, or any garments considered provocative. Even her choice of fabrics is restricted. Overly loud patterns, flashy materials, or anything that might be considered attention-seeking rather than appropriate for her role is discouraged. Catherine's nail polish choices are subject to royal approval, with strong preferences for neutral, light colors. Her signature shades include soft pinks and barely their neutral tones that complement, rather than compete, with her outfits. Dark nail polishes, bold colors, or elaborate nail art are strongly discouraged as they're considered too dramatic for royal appearances. This restriction extends to other beauty choices as well. Catherine's makeup must always appear natural and understated, even for evening events where dramatic looks might be fashionable among other guests. Her hairstyles, while often admired and copied by the public, must conform to conservative standards that maintain royal dignity while appearing contemporary and relatable. The ban on fur represents Catherine's intersection with modern royal values and animal welfare concerns. The royal family strictly prohibits wearing fur, reflecting contemporary attitudes toward animal rights. This restriction affects not only Catherine's clothing choices, but also her accessories, ensuring that any leather items come only from animals, not specifically killed for their hides. Catherine's shoe choices face surprising restrictions that affect her comfort during long public engagements. While wedge heels aren't completely banned, they're strongly discouraged by royal protocol. Queen Elizabeth II reportedly disapproved of wedge heels, considering them too casual for royal appearances. This preference means Catherine often wears traditional heels during lengthy walkabouts and standing engagements, prioritizing royal protocol over personal comfort. Royal fashion protocol requires Catherine to master the art of weighted hemlines to prevent any embarrassing incidents with wind or movement. Following Queen Elizabeth II's example, Catherine's dresses include small lead weights sewn into the hemlines. These weights, each weighing less than an ounce, prevent skirts from flying up in unexpected wind gusts, maintaining dignity during outdoor events and royal walkabouts. Catherine's handbag use extends far beyond fashion accessories to become communication tools governed by royal protocol. She must hold her handbag in specific ways that signal her availability for interactions with the public. When Catherine holds her bag with both hands in front of her body, it signals to those around her that she's too occupied to shake hands or engage in close contact. Royal protocol also dictates Catherine's jewelry choices for different times of day and types of events. Diamonds are forbidden before 6 p.m., while pearls are appropriate at any time. For evening events, Catherine can wear the magnificent royal jewelry collection, including historic pieces and family heirlooms, but these choices must be approved and appropriate for the specific occasion and her position in the royal hierarchy. The tiaras that Catherine wears at state banquets and formal evening events aren't chosen for personal preference but assigned based on complex royal traditions. As a married member of the royal family, Catherine can wear tiaras at appropriate evening events. But the choice of which tiara depends on the occasion's formality, her role at the event, and the availability of pieces from the royal collection. Catherine's clothing must always include consideration for the practical demands of royal life. Her outfits must allow for extensive handshaking, long periods of standing, unpredictable weather during outdoor events, and the constant presence of photographers capturing every angle. This means that fashion choices must balance style with functionality in ways that ordinary people never consider. The coat-wearing rules present another practical restriction in Catherine's royal wardrobe. If she arrives at an event wearing a coat due to cold weather, royal protocol requires that she keep the coat on throughout public portions of the event. This rule prevents any appearance of informal dress or casual behavior that might be photographed and misinterpreted. These extensive fashion restrictions reveal how Catherine's every public appearance requires careful planning and consideration of dozens of rules and protocols. While she has managed to bring a modern, relatable style to royal fashion, every choice operates within boundaries that turn daily dressing into a complex exercise in royal diplomacy and tradition. Princess Catherine's dining experiences represent perhaps the most intricate and demanding aspect of royal life. Every meal, from intimate family dinners to grand state banquets, operates within a framework of rules so complex that they would overwhelm most people. These protocols govern everything from what Catherine can eat to how she must hold her teacup, transforming simple dining into an elaborate performance of royal tradition. The most fundamental dining rule controlling Catherine's eating experience centers around the monarch's pace. When dining with King Charles III, or at any meal where he's present, Catherine must stop eating the moment the king puts down his cutlery to signal he's finished. This rule applies regardless of whether Catherine has completed her own meal or is genuinely hungry. The protocol serves to show respect for the monarch's authority and maintains proper royal hierarchy even during private family meals. This stopping when the monarch stops rule can create genuinely challenging situations during formal dinners. If Catherine happens to be served last during a multi-course meal, and King Charles finishes quickly, she might barely taste her food before having to stop eating. Former royal staff have reported that this protocol sometimes results in working royals leaving formal dinners quite hungry, especially during lengthy state banquets where multiple courses are served with precise timing. Catherine's conversation during formal dinners follows a rigid protocol that eliminates any natural flow of discussion. Royal dining tradition requires what's called turning the table, where Catherine must speak to the person seated on her right during the first course, then switch to conversation with the person on her left during the second course. This pattern continues throughout the meal, with the timing of conversational switches determined by the hostess or senior royal present. The conversation rules extend beyond timing to content restrictions that limit Catherine's ability to engage in natural dialogue. She cannot discuss politics, express personal opinions on controversial topics, or engage in gossip. Conversations must remain pleasant, neutral, and appropriate for formal dining situations. Catherine must also ensure that she includes all nearby diners in conversation at appropriate times, making every meal a carefully orchestrated social performance. Catherine's food choices are severely restricted by royal protocol that prioritizes safety and tradition over personal preferences or dietary desires. She cannot eat shellfish during public dining events or official travel due to the high risk of food poisoning. This means that traditional dishes featuring oysters, mussels, lobster, or crab are forbidden, regardless of local customs or special occasion menus. The restrictions extend to ingredients that might affect Catherine's breath or digestion during public engagements. Garlic is completely banned from royal meals, as are onions in any significant quantity. Former royal chefs report receiving specific instructions to minimize these ingredients in all royal cooking. This restriction means Catherine must forego many traditional dishes from cuisines around the world that feature these fundamental ingredients. Catherine cannot drink tap water during official engagements, even in countries with excellent water quality standards. Royal protocol requires bottled water only to eliminate any risk of stomach upset that could interfere with royal duties. This extends to ice cubes, which must be made from bottled water, and affects her ability to enjoy local beverages that might contain local water sources. The ban on spicy foods creates another significant dietary restriction for Catherine during international travel and multicultural dining events. Royal protocol forbids spicy cuisines that might cause digestive discomfort or affect Catherine's ability to carry out subsequent engagements. This limitation affects her experience of authentic local cuisines during royal tours and cultural exchanges. Catherine's tea service must follow precise royal protocol that transforms this simple British tradition into a complex ceremony. The tea must be prepared with loose leaves in white porcelain teapots, using exact proportions of 1 teaspoon of leaves per cup, plus 1 additional teaspoon for the pot. Water temperatures are specified for different tea types: 70 degrees Celsius for green tea and 100 degrees Celsius for Earl Grey. The actual consumption of tea involves detailed hand positioning that Catherine must master and maintain. She must hold the teacup with her thumb and index finger positioned on the top of the handle, using her middle finger to support the bottom of the handle for stability. The second hand must never be involved in holding the cup, and despite popular misconceptions, extending the pinky finger is actually considered improper and discouraged. Catherine's napkin use during formal dinners follows specific protocols that serve multiple purposes beyond simple cleanliness. She must fold large dinner napkins in half before placing them on her lap, with the crease facing away from her body. When temporarily leaving the table, Catherine must place her napkin on her chair to signal she will return. Only when completely finished with the meal should the napkin be placed on the left side of her place setting. The royal family's approach to napkin etiquette includes a subtle technique for maintaining dignity while eating. Catherine must use only the inside fold of her napkin when wiping her mouth, keeping any food stains hidden from view. This technique prevents visible soiling of the napkin while maintaining the elegant appearance expected during formal dining occasions. Catherine's cutlery handling must demonstrate perfect royal dining technique throughout every meal. She holds her fork with her index finger extended down the handle, stopping just before the bridge where tines meet handle. Her knife technique requires the index finger to extend down the knife blade's back, stopping where blade meets handle. This grip provides maximum control while maintaining the elegant positioning expected of royal dining. The positioning of cutlery sends specific signals to serving staff about Catherine's dining progress. When taking a temporary break during a course, she must cross her knife and fork on her plate to indicate she's not finished eating. When completely done with a course, Catherine places her knife and fork parallel to each other at the 4 o'clock position on her plate, signaling servers that the plate can be cleared. Catherine must master the art of eating without creating any noise that might be considered unrefined. Fork and knife contact with plates must be minimized to prevent scraping sounds. Chewing must be done quietly, and any foods that might create eating sounds, such as crackers, crispy foods, or anything requiring significant jaw movement, must be approached with careful technique to maintain dining dignity. Royal breakfast protocol requires Catherine to wait for the most senior royal present before beginning to eat, even during casual family meals. This hierarchy extends throughout the day, affecting lunch and dinner timing as well. Catherine cannot begin eating until the appropriate royal family member has been served and starts their meal, regardless of food temperature or personal hunger. The complexity of Catherine's dining restrictions extends to leaving the table during meals. If she needs to excuse herself during a formal dinner, Catherine must quietly say, "Excuse me," or "I apologize," before departing. She must place her cutlery in the crossed position to indicate she will return, and must leave and return as discreetly as possible to avoid disrupting the meal's flow or drawing attention to her absence. Catherine's experience with traditional British foods involves specific protocols that affect her enjoyment of cultural dining experiences. Scones at afternoon tea must be broken apart by hand rather than cut with a knife, with jam and cream added to individual pieces just before eating. Sandwiches at formal tea service must be eaten with fingers rather than utensils, while cakes and pastries require proper fork use. These extensive dining restrictions mean that Catherine's relationship with food has been fundamentally transformed by royal protocol. Simple meals become complex performances, requiring constant attention to rules, timing, and proper technique. Every bite, every sip, every movement at the dining table must conform to traditions that have been refined over centuries, making Catherine's dining experience unlike anything most people could imagine.